Hi, I'm Larry Menti. Welcome to Another Thing. 2014 is almost in the history books. It started with an Obamacare website debacle and ended with protest over policing in black communities. And in between, an airliner mysteriously disappeared and the balance of power in Washington shifted. How could you possibly pick the year's biggest story?
Some of the top headlines in the Philadelphia area included longtime Judge Seamus McCaffrey resigning because of pornographic emails. The first female firefighter died in the line of duty, and Temple's beloved Bill Cosby faced a slew of new sexual allegations. But one of the big stories in 2014 involved a sports team, of course, in a city obsessed with its sports.
The Taney Dragons lit up the town, lit up the nation with their great performance. Monet Davis in the World Series put Philly on the map in a very positive way, something our four professional sports teams didn't necessarily do this year.
It usually always comes back to our teams.
Joe Valley and Matt Goldberg know Philadelphia. They wrote a book called A Snowball's Chance, Philly Fires Back against the national media. Valley also runs the website Philly to Philly and says the biggest stories this year involved race.
I think you have to talk about Eric Garner and Michael Brown and the Ferguson incident as well. That still showed that racial lines in this country, whether we want to admit it or not, are still divided.
The death of Robin Williams topped Google's most searched story for 2014, followed by the World Cup, Ebola, the Ice Bucket Challenge, and the disappearance of Malaysia Flight 370. Other issues that dominated the headlines: the NFL scandals off the field, the midterm elections, and the crisis at the border.
And I think you also have to go with the Pakistan-Taliban incident. 141 dead, 132 children. You know, you just can't even fathom that.
Now, Yahoo confirms that we're still a society obsessed with entertainment. Their top stories for 2014 included the movie Frozen, the video game Minecraft, and the iPhone 6, plus a bunch of other celebrities. But Ebola still ranked #1. For MeTV, I'm Ellen Kaloje.
Joining us now to talk more about that is Chris Jordan, who is the entertainment reporter for the Asbury Park Press and also APP.com, and also Bob Jordan, who is the political reporter for the very same. All right, let's get into it. First of all, let me just start off by asking what you think was the biggest story of the year.
That's too hard. We had ISIS, we had the ISIS situation, we had Ebola scare, we had midterm elections, which changed the control of Congress.
But this is a TV show. You got to pick one. What would you say would be the biggest? I mean, the problem with picking the biggest story, and we're going to see a whole lot of these, and everybody's going to have a different opinion. And the problem is it the one that got the most attention? Is it the one that's the most consequential? Is it the one that's most important? Because the one that's most important may not make anybody's list. You know, it might be something in science, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But I'm still going to press.
I'm going to go for midterm elections.
Midterm elections?
Just because it casts a whole different light on Washington. You know, it's always the blame game. And now there's a potential for the blame to go on the other side that was blaming Democrats for a lot of the logjam that existed. So either we have a shift in the blame game, or we actually have bills sent to the president that everybody can agree on. We're hopeful we'll see that coming up this next year. But that was the Democrat.
It could change the course of the country for a long, long time to come. I agree with you. Do you agree?
Me, Ferguson, and the Garner death. It speaks to the overstepping of police authority. Many people in the country feel this way. They're stopping traffic. People are stopping traffic. People are very passionate about this topic. And maybe if you or I don't feel that the police are overstepping their authority, many of our fellow Americans do. So it's a big issue, and it looks like it's going to go into the new year too.
Let's go back now, and I want to start with the beginning of the year, and something that I had to remember happened this year: the bungling of the ObamaCare rollout. Did that just come and go, or are there long-term effects from that?
Well, if you remember, this started back in 2013, I guess. Once the rollout started, there were troubles signing up, but there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of criticism. There still is a lot of criticism. Reports are it's going a lot smoother this time around. The government spent a lot of money setting up websites and market exchanges. The reports are encouraging, so maybe this won't be a big story in 2015.
I thought maybe, and you tell me if you think I'm right, I thought it was the first chink in the armor of President Obama. He was able to take everything else, and it didn't hurt his popularity. That one seemed to hurt him.
He lost his mojo there a little bit, and then his meek response to ISIS. He said, well, we'll contain this problem. Where Joe Biden comes out and says, we're going to follow these guys to the gates of hell if it takes.
Right, but it all started with Obamacare. I mean, after that, everything else he did was questioned, including NSA. Let's get to something that's more in your roundhouse. Robin Williams, the death of Robin Williams, a huge story.
That was a shocker. Just someone who seemed to be so full of life, so full of joy, and then to find out that he took his own life. Touched many hearts in our area, in our region of the country. A lot of Bruce Springsteen fans were sad. Robin Williams did a parody of Bruce Springsteen's Fire, and apparently Springsteen and Williams were friends. But it's just a shocker, and it's a shocker for the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, who kind of grew up, watching Mork and Mindy.
But he was multi-generational. Everybody loved them, old, young. I mean, kids that watched Aladdin. He was such an enormous star, from Mork and Mindy to that. The disappointment in those type of stories, always to me, and with Philip Seymour Hoffman, or did I get that wrong? Philip Hoffman Seymour. Everybody thought they'd be talking about the heroin epidemic with him, and that kind of went away. And with Robin Williams, everybody thought people would start to deal with depression more, and that kind of went away. So these stories don't have the impact, except on us emotionally. They don't have the long-range impact on society that they maybe should.
Which is sad, because you would want people to take action as a part of these performers' legacy. I think the Williams family would like people to take a closer look at depression. And also, there were reports that he suffered from Parkinson's too. So perhaps if people could be more aware of the plight of people who suffer from Parkinson's disease, that would benefit Williams's legacy.
Let's talk about one last thing, or a couple more things, but one big thing that you both can comment on: the future of Atlantic City. It's both a political and an entertainment story. You want to start?
Well, Atlantic City, it had its heyday, but its heyday has always been helped by some exterior force. Early in the century, it was sort of when Prohibition was around, you could get away with having a drink there, having a good time. Then it had a little help back in 1975 or whenever New Jersey legalized gambling in Atlantic City. So it had those little helps. Now, everybody, there's no more prohibition, gambling's everywhere. Atlantic City doesn't have anything that makes it stand out.
So you're saying there's no more help?
It's unique.
Because it was a huge story this year, Revel closing, and then that's starting the domino effect of it. How does that, I mean, Atlantic City, you would have to argue, is the entertainment mecca of New Jersey.
Yeah, in my reporting, I found that festivals are going to Atlantic City. The Garden State Film Festival is there. A big music festival that was in Seaside Heights drew about 20,000 people. That's going to be in Atlantic City. A big gay festival called the Sandblast. They relocated from Asbury Park to Atlantic City. So I think the era of the big casino, I think, is over. But these smaller currents are happening where people want to go to Atlantic City, and entertainment people want to go to Atlantic City. People don't need to go, and people apparently don't want to go to Atlantic City to gamble, but they do want to get, like Bob said, get that nightlife, get that little kind of naughty feeling in like another way besides the gambling.
You go there for that naughty feeling? Is that?
Well, Atlantic City. But I'm just wondering, with the convenience gambling everywhere, you can bet on your phone, you can bet on the internet. Will even the Sugar House in Philly be in trouble at some point? I mean, will people even leave their homes to gamble in the future?
I don't think it was the panacea solution that all these states thought it was going to be, because now that everybody has it, it's like the lotto or the lottery. Everybody has the lottery now. You know, like, I guess the next thing they're going to go to is pot. That's going to be everywhere, and everybody's expecting to make money off of pot and be the first state to do it.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's go ahead. I was just wrapping up.
Yeah, the next thing, gambling, with Christie. Okay.
Online gambling?
No, sports betting.
Yeah.
That's the new thing that the
NFL is, you know, no, so look out.
and NBA is saying yes now. So,
True.
so.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And we're going to do another show next week on Looking Forward, so you'll both be back for that.
Sounds good, Peter.
Thank you to Chris Jordan, who is the Asbury Park Press, I almost called you Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press entertainment reporter, and also to Bob Jordan, the political reporter. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk more about what happened in science in 2014. It's a topic that we don't talk about enough, but it may be some of the most important stuff that happened when we come right back.